Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Lawpatra. My name is Vaibhav and in this video we will discuss the primary rights of tenants under the Rajasthan Tenancy Act 1955. So don't forget to like the video and subscribe the channel for more videos like these and watch the video till the end so that you can understand the concept fully. So part 3C and section 31 to 37 cover the primary rights of tenants. So we will start from section 31, which says rights to residential house, meaning a tenant has a right to build a residence on the land they own. They can build residence for themselves, for their animals, for any irrigation purposes. This section provides the right for the purpose of building residence at the land, and plus if they have land in more than one village, so they are limited to just build the residence in one village only, or one land, one village only. Plus they have to file a application to the Tehsildar for the same. Now we talk about section 32, which says right to written lease and counterparts. Now we should understand that person, the landholder and the tenant, they have a lease agreement between them with the land under this act. So when a landholder gives a land or tenant buys from a landholder, he is bound, and at the same time the landholder is also bound to give each other the written lease and the counterpart, both written and signed by them. And if both of them are in any manner are not able to provide the lease, written lease, or provide the counterpart, then they can sue each other. They can bring suit on each other on the matter. So now we move on to section 33, which says that attestation of leases in lieu of the registration. So with this section, we understand that this is just a supplement section to the section 32. So this section says that officer appointed under Indian Registration Act 1908 should attest the written lease which has been formed from the agreement between the tenant and the landholder, and that has to be attested within the 4 months before the execution. That is the important part. And the officer appointed has to be appointed under Indian Registration Act 1908, and plus if there has to be a inquiry by the officer which has been appointed. But if the landholder is government, or it is the lease is authorized by the government itself, then there is no inquiry done. So this section 33 says this. Now we move on to section 34, which says prohibition of premium or forced labor. So section 34 says that any landholder, state government, cannot force a tenant to work as a labor for wages on the land which they have been given, or they are the tenant of that land. Plus they cannot ask for to render any service of any sort. They cannot ask for any premium of any sort for the grant of lease. So this section 34 clears all the extra charges or any sort of forced labor on the tenant. Now section 35. Section 35 says prohibition of payment other than rent. Now with this section we understand that apart from any rent decided by the revenue board, or any sort of charges, any charges governed by law charged by the revenue board or by the state government, apart from all these charges or the rents, there will be no other payment or any sort of charges taken or imposed on the tenant of the land under Rajasthan Tenancy Act, which means that any other charges will be prohibited by the state government itself and the revenue board itself. So the tenant is just liable to pay the rent, pay the charges which are imposed by the revenue board only. So section 36 says use of materials. So it says that tenant has a right to use or utilize the stones or any kind of material which is on the surface land of the land which is acquired, and he can use the stones or the materials, utilize them in improving the land or when he's building the residence, or he can throw the stones away, or at the same time it's his own will how he will use the all the material stones which are on the surface land. And also if he digs out any sort of the land for any boring purposes or any water purposes, the stones and all the materials, he can use them or he can throw them away, he can utilize them. But this is subject to the rule of the state government. The state government provides some rules on this matter, so it will be the subject to rule. Now section 37, which says acquisition of right to nullbutt. Now we must understand first the meaning of the nullbutt. Now if you read the definition part of this act, you will know that nullbutt means any sort of payment in cash or kind to the landholder for the resources such as well or any water resources. So this is nullbutt, and nullbutt can be paid to the landholder, or if anyone wants to use the water resources which is situated in the land, he can pay the owner of the land at that point of time too. And the owner has to, that means the tenant has to make the payment to the landholder itself. So this is now section 36A gives the right to the tenant that he can pay the nullbutt to the landholder, that is state government, and use the resources, use the any sort of, if he wants to do any boring, if he wants to put a tube well, which is very common in the villages, so he can use it for irrigation, for any personal use, for any for any watery use. So now we come to the last section, which is section 37, which reads as bar to seizure, attachment and sale by process of court. Now which says that any land, any holding is barred to any seizure for any attachment or sale, which means that a tenant cannot seize or make an attachment or sell the land which he is owner of or which he is tenant of. And this is a bar which is kept by the state government on the tenant, and tenant should be aware of this. And also this section says that they are barred by the process of the civil code, which means to if a person wants to give the transferable rights, they can give this through the decree of a civil code, which can be challenged within 5 years and it can be taken back.